I miss my life before you." The words hung in the air between us like smoke after a gunshot. My girlfriend Claire stood in our kitchen, arms crossed, face flushed with anger. We'd been arguing about something trivial. I honestly can't even remember what started it, but those 6 words changed everything. I'm 26. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for the last 18 months in a decent 2-bedroom apartment downtown. Up until that moment, I thought we were building something real. I didn't yell back. I didn't throw accusations. I just looked at her, really looked at her, and felt something shift inside my chest. Not breaking, not even cracking, just settling into place. "Okay," I said quietly. She blinked. "What?" "Okay, I hear you. That's it. That's all you have to say." Her voice climbed higher, like she was gearing up for the fight she expected. "What do you want me to say, Claire? You miss your life before me. I'm not going to argue with how you feel." She stared at me for a long moment, then shook her head and walked away. I heard our bedroom door close. Not slam, close. Somehow that felt worse. I stood in that kitchen for maybe 20 minutes, just thinking. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Our coffee mugs from that morning were still in the sink. Her jacket was draped over the back of the dining chair. Everything looked normal. Everything felt different. Here's the thing people don't tell you about relationships. Sometimes the end doesn't come with screaming matches or cheating or some dramatic betrayal. Sometimes it comes with one honest sentence that pulls back the curtain on what someone really feels. I pulled out my phone and started making a list. The next morning, Claire acted like nothing happened. She came out of the bedroom wearing her scrubs, she's a dental hygienist, and poured herself coffee like we hadn't just had that conversation. "Morning," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Morning. I have a long day. Mrs. Patterson is coming in for that root canal follow-up, and you know how she is." I nodded. I didn't know. I'd heard about Mrs. Patterson's dental anxiety at least a dozen times. "Claire." She paused, coffee mug halfway to her lips. "We should talk. Really talk. Not tonight. You'll be tired. But soon." Something flickered across her face. Relief? Worry? I couldn't tell. "Yeah. Okay. Soon." Then she left, and I got to work. My best friend Tony called around noon. "Dude, you sound weird." "What's up?" "I need a favor. Can you help me move some furniture this weekend?" "Moving? You guys getting a bigger place?" "Something like that." I spent my lunch break at a storage facility, putting down a deposit on a climate-controlled unit. Then I called my landlord. The apartment was in my name only, a detail that suddenly mattered a lot. "Hey, Mr. Chun, I wanted to give you a heads up. My girlfriend will be moving out soon. I'm keeping the place, though, so nothing changes on your end." "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You two seemed good together." "Yeah, things change." That evening, Claire came home exhausted like she predicted. She kicked off her shoes and collapsed on the couch I'd bought before we moved in together. "Rough day?" I asked. "The worst. Mrs. Patterson had a panic attack, and we had to reschedule. Then Dr. Morrison was in a mood. I swear sometimes," she stopped. "You're being nice." "I'm always nice." "No, I mean, after last night. I thought you'd be mad." I sat down in the armchair across from her. "I'm not mad, Claire. I've been thinking, actually, about what you said." She sat up a little straighter. "Look, I was angry. I didn't mean. I think you did mean it. And that's okay." "It's not okay. It was a shitty thing to say. But was it true?" She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. "That's what I thought," I said, keeping my voice gentle. "So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give you back your life from before me. Completely." "What does that mean?" "It means you don't have to feel guilty or explain or justify anything. I'm making it easy." "You're breaking up with me?" Her voice cracked slightly. "I'm letting you have what you said you wanted. I was just mad. People say things when they're mad." "Yeah, they do. They say what they're really thinking, but are too scared to say otherwise." She stood up, wrapping her arms around herself. "So what? You're just giving up? 3 years, and you're just done?" "I'm not giving up. I'm paying attention. There's a difference." We stood there in silence. I could see her processing, trying to figure out if she should fight this or let it happen. The fact that she had to think about it told me everything. "I need some air," she finally said, grabbing her jacket. "Take your time." She didn't come back until after midnight. I was already in bed, but I wasn't asleep. The next few days were strange. We existed in this weird limbo, polite and distant. She'd come home from work. We'd exchange basic pleasantries, and then retreat to separate corners of the apartment. She took the bedroom. I'd been sleeping on the couch. On Thursday, I started packing her things. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just methodically. I bought nice boxes from the moving supply store. I folded her clothes carefully. I wrapped her decorative items in bubble wrap. I even labeled everything clearly: kitchen items, bathroom, books, and DVDs. When she came home that evening, she found me in the bedroom, packing up her winter sweaters. "What are you doing?" "Helping you get your old life back. You'll need your stuff." I never said I was moving out. "Claire, come on. We both know how this ends. I'm just trying to make it easier for both of us." She sat on the edge of the bed I'd also bought before she moved in. "Where am I supposed to go?" "Your sister's place? She's got that spare room, right?" "For how long?" "As long as you need. Or until you find your own place. I'm not kicking you out tomorrow. Take your time. But we both know you can't stay here." "This is insane. We had one fight." "No," I said, putting down the sweater I was folding. "We've had lots of fights. Small ones, mostly. About me working too much. About me not being spontaneous enough. About how I'm too content with routine. This is just the first time you said out loud what you've been feeling for months." Her face went pale. "How did you?" "Because I've been paying attention. You're not happy, Claire. You haven't been for a while. And I can't fix that because the problem is me. The life we have together. So instead of dragging this out, making us both miserable, I'm giving you an exit ramp." Tears started rolling down her cheeks. "You make it sound so easy. It's not easy. It fucking sucks. But it's necessary. What about you? What do you get out of this?" "Peace of mind. And eventually, someone who doesn't miss their life before me." She cried harder. I didn't move to comfort her. That time had passed. Tony came over Saturday morning with his truck. Claire had agreed to move the first load to her sister Hannah's place. She'd called Hannah Friday night, had a long conversation I couldn't hear from the living room, and emerged red-eyed but determined. "You're really doing this?" Tony said as we loaded boxes. "Yep. She's pretty torn up, man." "I know. Are you?" I paused, a box labeled shoes in my hands. "Yeah, but it's the right thing." "How do you know?" "Because she said she missed her life before me, and I realized I couldn't remember the last time she seemed genuinely happy with me. Not content. Not comfortable. Happy." Tony nodded slowly. "That's heavy, dude. Life's heavy sometimes." We made 3 trips that day. Claire came along for the first 2, directing where things should go in Hannah's spare room. By the 3rd trip, she stayed behind. When I got back, she was sitting on the floor of our empty bedroom, looking small. "Most of your stuff is out," I said. "I'll bring the rest next weekend if you want." "I can't believe you're being so calm about all this." "Would you prefer I yell? Throw things? Beg you to stay?" "Maybe. At least then I'd feel like you cared." I sat down on the floor next to her, keeping some distance between us. "I care enough to let you go. Some people think love means holding on no matter what. I think sometimes love means knowing when to open your hand." "That's poetic." "It's true." She leaned her head back against the wall. "I did love you. I do love you. I know. But love isn't always enough, is it?" "Apparently not." We sat there for a while in comfortable silence. It felt like the most honest moment we'd had in months. "Can I ask you something?" she finally said. "Sure." "When did you know that we were done?" "I thought about it. Probably around 6 months ago. You started working extra shifts, picking up hobbies I wasn't invited to join. You'd come home and barely tell me about your day. I'd suggest we do something together, and you'd always have a reason why not. But I kept telling myself it was just a phase. Work stress. Normal relationship stuff. Then you said those words, and I couldn't pretend anymore. Why didn't you say something? Would you have listened? Or would you have just felt guilty and tried harder to force something that wasn't working?" She didn't answer, which was answer enough. "I should go," she said, standing up. "Hannah's making dinner." "Okay." At the door, she turned back. "What are you going to do now?" "Tonight? Probably order pizza and watch a movie. Long term, figure out who I am outside of us." "I'm sorry. For what I said. For how this happened." "Don't be. You were honest. That's more than a lot of people manage." She left, and the apartment felt enormous and quiet. The following weeks developed a pattern. Claire would come by to pick up random things she'd forgotten. A phone charger, a specific book, her good winter coat. Each time, we'd talk a little. Not about getting back together, just talking. About her new routine at Hannah's. About a project I was working on. Surface stuff, but without the tension that had been there for months. "You seem good," she said one evening, 3 weeks after she'd moved out. "I am good. You?" "Yeah, actually. Hannah and I have been doing yoga in the mornings. And I joined this book club I've been meaning to try for years." "That's great. You're not even a little bit mad at me, are you?" "No. Should I be?" "I don't know. Most guys would be." I shrugged. You can't help how you feel. And honestly, I'd rather have the truth than live in a relationship where someone's just going through the motions. Hannah thinks you're either the most emotionally mature person she's ever met or completely dead inside. I laughed. Probably somewhere in between. For what it's worth, I think you're going to make someone really happy someday. Someone who wants the same quiet, stable life you do. And you're going to find someone who makes you want to be spontaneous and adventurous. Someone who fits that version of yourself you've been trying to get back to. Look at us, being all mature about our breakup. We're very evolved. She smiled. A real smile, the first one I'd seen in months. I'm glad we're doing it this way. No screaming, no lawyers, no dividing up mutual friends. Me too. A month after Claire moved out, I was reorganizing the apartment when I found a photo album wedged behind the bookshelf. Pictures from our first year together. Halloween party where we dressed as zombies. Road trip to the mountains. Her birthday dinner at that Italian place she loved. We looked happy. We had been happy at the start. But people change. What you want at 23 isn't always what you want at 26. That's not anyone's fault. I kept the album, but put it in storage with some of my other old stuff. Not throwing it away, but not keeping it on display either. Tony stopped by that night with beer. How you holding up? Good, actually. Really good. Yeah. The apartment feels like mine again. I've been cooking more, reading more, actually enjoying my space instead of walking on eggshells. You were walking on eggshells? Towards the end, yeah? Trying to be the person she wanted instead of just being myself. It's exhausting. Think you'll start dating again? Eventually. Not right now. I need to just be alone for a while, figure out what I actually want. You always were the thoughtful one. We clinked beer bottles. Can I tell you something? I said. When she said she missed her life before me, my first instinct was to panic. To figure out what I'd done wrong, how I could fix it, how I could make her happy. But then I realized, I can't make someone happy if they don't want the life we're building together. And more importantly, I don't want to be someone's compromise. Heavy stuff, man. Yeah, but true. I want someone who wakes up and thinks, I'm glad this is my life. Not someone who's tolerating it. You're going to find that. Maybe, but I'm okay if I don't. I'd rather be alone than be with someone who wishes they weren't with me. 2 months post-breakup, Claire texted me. Hey, I know this is random, but I wanted to thank you. For what? For handling everything the way you did. For not making it ugly or difficult. For giving me space to figure out what I actually wanted. You're welcome. How are things? Good. Really good, actually. I got my own place, a studio downtown. And I'm seeing someone. Nothing serious yet, but it's fun. I felt nothing. No jealousy, no regret. Just genuine happiness for her. That's great, Claire. I'm happy for you. You mean that? I do. What about you? Seeing anyone? No. Been focusing on myself. It's been nice. You were always good at that. Being okay alone. It's a skill. Well, take care of yourself. You too. And that was it. No drama. No crying. No begging for second chances. Just two people who'd shared part of their lives, acknowledging it was over and moving forward. 3 months after the breakup, I ran into Claire at a coffee shop. She was with a guy, tall, outdoorsy-looking, beard and flannel shirt. They were laughing about something, her hand on his arm. She saw me and her smile faltered for just a second. Then she waved. I waved back, got my coffee and left. I didn't need to interrupt or make it awkward. She looked happy. That was enough. That night, I thought about what she'd said during our fight. I miss my life before you. At the time, it had felt like a rejection of everything we'd built together. But now I understood it differently. She'd missed being the person she was before she tried to mold herself into someone who wanted my kind of life. And you know what? I didn't miss my life before her. I missed parts of our relationship, sure. The early days when everything was easy and exciting. But I didn't miss the person I'd been trying to be for her. More spontaneous, more social, more everything she seemed to want. I liked who I was now. Comfortable in my own space. Content with quiet evenings and weekend projects. Not afraid to be alone because being alone was better than being with someone who wished I was different. A few weeks later, I was at a work event. One of those networking things I usually avoid, but my boss had insisted I attend. I was standing by the bar, nursing a drink and contemplating a strategic exit when a woman walked up. You look about as thrilled to be here as I am, she said. I laughed. That obvious? The way you've been eyeing the exit for the past 10 minutes was a pretty big clue. Guilty. I'm Alex, by the way. Nicole. We talked for maybe 20 minutes. She was a graphic designer, recently moved to the city, also dragged to this event by her boss. She had an easy laugh and didn't seem to need me to be anything other than what I was. "This might be forward," she said as the event was winding down. "But would you want to get coffee sometime? Actual coffee, not networking event coffee." "I'd like that." We exchanged numbers. I didn't know if it would go anywhere. Maybe it would fizzle out after one coffee. Maybe she'd realize I was too boring or too routine-oriented. But I wasn't going to pretend to be someone else to find out. On my way home, I thought about Claire again. Not with sadness or anger, just with a kind of quiet gratitude. She'd said something hurtful, yes, but she'd also given me permission to stop trying to be something I wasn't. She'd set us both free. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do for someone is let them go. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do for yourself is recognize when someone's already halfway out the door and just open it for them. I got back to my apartment, not ours, and felt perfectly content. The space was mine. The life was mine. And whoever ended up sharing it with me would be someone who chose it deliberately, not someone who was trying to convince themselves it was enough. That night, I deleted the last few photos of Claire from my phone. Not out of spite, just out of completion. That chapter was over. Time to see what came next. My phone buzzed. Text from Nicole. "Had fun talking tonight. How's Thursday at 2 for that coffee?" I smiled. Thursday at 2 works perfectly. And just like that, life kept moving forward. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my apartment on a Saturday morning, drinking coffee and reading. Nicole's in the kitchen making pancakes. She stayed over last night, something that's been happening more frequently. We're not rushing into anything, both of us gun-shy from past relationships. But it's good, easy, natural. "Blueberries or chocolate chips?" she calls. "Dealer's choice." She pokes her head around the corner. "You're impossible to cook for. You like everything." "I'm easy to please." "Yeah, I'm learning that." She disappears back into the kitchen, and I hear her humming. It's a small moment, domestic and simple. But I realize I'm happy. Not trying to be happy, not working at being happy, just genuinely content. My phone buzzes. It's Tony. "Drinks tonight?" "Got news." I text back. "Can't tonight." "Tomorrow?" "Whipped already?" "Hardly. Just have plans." Nicole comes out with a plate of pancakes, blueberry, and sets them down on the coffee table. She curls up next to me on the couch, her feet tucked under her. "These look amazing."